All right, hello, beautiful souls, and welcome. I am Sherry Mosley, and we are doing our Awakening Wellness show and or podcast on YouTube. So I'm Sherry Mosley. I'm here in the Sausalito, San Francisco area, and I practice in shamanic healing, working in Akashic Enlightenment, as well as a background in Asian medicine and healing with that. So in this show, we talk about healing and awakening and all of that within these modalities, as well as the fact that I am a natural born psychic medium. Now, I know that last week I said that we were going to do a live show. Unfortunately, I'm not able to, so I'm doing this recording. There have just been some early Mercury retrograde things coming in. So I just wanted to say a happy Halloween. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for being a subscriber. Remember to share the channel with others and to like all the videos that you like. And I'm going to go ahead and attach on the talk that I did earlier this week. Coincidentally, I guess I already psychically knew I wouldn't be able to do this live. So I already did that recording talking about client sessions and my experience with those client sessions. So I hope that that's helpful for those of you that hope to learn more about the sessions that I do. And wait for the end, there's a special giveaway. All right, so celebrating 10 years of doing this work officially, and I wanted to share the celebration with all of you. So enjoy the pre-recorded video, and I hope to see you here next week for Awakening and Wellness. All right, lots of love. All right, hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to the channel if you're new. Welcome back if you're returning. This is Sherry Mosley, and we're going to be doing our Awakening and Wellness show for today. All right, so in case you are new, I am Sherry Mosley. I'm located here in Sausalito, California, just outside of San Francisco. And I am a shamanic and Asian medicine practitioner, primarily working with Akashic Enlightenment, and that is accessing the Akashic records as well as the Book of Truth. So all of the content for this show is related to either the shamanic aspect or the Asian medicine aspect. I'm also a psychic medium by birth. All right, so today I would actually like to share with you some of my experiences with doing client sessions. So I have people asking me a lot of questions about what I experience when I do these sessions. So I wanted to give you a little taste. And yeah, we'll go ahead and dive right in. All right, so let's see. All right, so well, actually, I guess the most recent experience I've had is when souls feel drawn into my website they don't really know why, and they sign up for a personal shamanic Akashic enlightenment session. And when we're in the middle of the session, it turns out that their soul is actually calling to awaken or have them awaken, and their soul is calling them to this path. So I have a lot of people show up and say, you know, I felt really drawn to your website. My guides brought me to you. I'm not sure why. I don't really know why I'm here. I'm not sure what's happening. And this is all a sign of spiritual awakening, right? The soul is leading you to come over into this frequency, which is what I hold, this frequency of Akashic enlightenment, and helping people to awaken to their true self that is connected to source and all that is, and to live a life from that alignment. So that's the first and primary reason a lot of people book a session. They feel drawn to the energy and they are ready to go through an awakening. So that's the first batch of people. Then some more specific examples of doing sessions. And this may be with people that I've had as clients for a while, as well as new clients. So an example of client I've had for a while, she's been going through the awakening process, which of course can bring up all sorts of things, as well as, crisis points where we go through these turning points, things happen in our life and we don't know why or how to handle them. And after this crisis point, she wanted to do a session. Maybe this was like months later after the crisis, and she had already kind of taken care of it. And in the reading session, we were looking at why she was hearing voices. Okay, and we can hear voices for lots of different reasons. Higher spirit coming in, maybe they're negative voices, and these are, our consciousness sending in negative thoughts, helping us to derail us from our soul's path. So there could be lots of reasons for this. So once we got into the space, it actually, I did actually a couple of sessions because there were a lot of things going on. But when we came down to this topic, I actually saw this kind of black energy in her body. And in shamanism, this is how I see extractions or something that needs to be extracted. It's usually like a gray or black energy in the body or energy bodies. They can also appear as holes in the energy bodies. And what this is foreign energy. Foreign energy, it can be from other energies sitting in your energy field, meaning that you have a hole in a certain space. This is usually when it's in the energy field space, not in the body. And some other energy is sitting in there, right? And this usually means you have a karmic or unconscious mind pattern that is allowing this hole in your true self to be there. And another, you could say just foreign energy is kind of filling it in, kind of like a dusty corner, right? If you don't clean it, things just kind of gather and hang out there. Okay. But in this case, I saw the black energy in the body. Okay. And in that sense, there is usually something physically off. So I checked in about any medications that were being taken. And it turns out that there was a medication. And as I will say, as I tried to clean the energy out, it had a stickiness to it. Usually these things will clear right out. And the fact that it was sticky made me realize that this is a foreign substance. And this is usually caused by drugs or alcohol. And of course, these can be prescribed drugs as well. Okay. And, oftentimes these drugs or medications, they can be helpful for a certain amount of time. And then they actually start to clog up the system, right? Because they're not natural to the system. And in this case, this is what was being shown, is that it was causing interference. She was also having trouble connecting to her higher self, even in Akashic Enlightenment. And that's why when I even teach Akashic Enlightenment, I say, no alcohol within 24 hours use, because what that does is it brings your frequency down to like a level 2. And Akashic Enlightenment, we're starting at level 5, going all the way up to 12th density consciousness. And so when you put in a substance that kind of numbs out that connection, you feel cut off from spirit. And this can also happen from trauma, but in this case, it was a physical substance. And so we did some clearing out here, and then she went and worked out with her doctor, who agreed, she'd been on the medication for too long, and slowly took her off it, and voila, no more voices. So that's an example of, there is a spiritual aspect, but in this case, there is also a material interference. Okay, so it's really good to be able to discern what is happening on the spiritual realm and how much needs to be shifted in the material world as well. Okay, so that's one other example. The next example I wanted to share is, I've had some people with some injuries, so physical injuries. So when I do a reading for somebody who has a physical injury, there is almost like a medical scanning that I do, where I see the whole physical body, and we are looking at certain areas of the body, whether it's the hand or the back or the head. And in this case, I can also see a grayed out area or a black energy, meaning that there's some sort of, it could be injury or blocked chi or energy. And also you can see like inflammation, you can see if things are out of alignment. So my mediumship does work in that aspect where I can see those things. So I can do some energy healing and clearing on the spiritual level in that case. And I did in this case, someone had an old injury on their hand that they had done. And, I can also then look at the root cause of how the injury was caused. Even if they don't tell me. And so I can tell them, what was the actual root cause of this. And oftentimes, it can be a physical injury, but it can also be a mental mind pattern that caused the injury to happen, right? There's a habit of maybe overworking or overdoing things. You push yourself too hard, and then the injury happened. And so then we can remove that. And that will accelerate the healing, right? Because the spiritual level has been received, understood, and then cleared. And then the physical level can also begin to heal more. And in this case, I also prescribed some or recommended some Asian herbs, some Chinese medicine, which then also accelerates the healing process. So we're working with the spiritual realm again, and then the material realm with the Chinese herbs. Okay, so that's an example of reading with physical injuries. And let's see, the next one. Okay, another popular reason that people come in is, there's something going on with relationships. This is one of the most common scenarios that people get a session, is trying to understand the situation in a particular relationship. And this could be your life partner. This could be most likely with a family member. And what I usually see in these sessions, particularly in this one, the problem that is happening with the family member is also happening at work. Okay, so they are going through a consciousness shift in one area, but it's playing out in two areas. I call that the mirror consciousness, which we get into very deeply in the Akashic Enlightenment level 10, teacher as a teacher as a practitioner, if you're doing sessions for others, or teacher of being. Okay, and you can look at those if you are interested in deeper mentorship training. But what we are looking at is, clearing the deeper karmic roots in this case of why this pattern is happening. And I'll get a vision of, something that happened in this lifetime that is karmically perpetuating them to do this cycle that is occurring with the pattern continuing to play out and play out and play out. This is what we call playing it out in the material world until we become conscious of it and can step out of it. So in this case, we'll clear the pattern, and then I'm just told some, what I call the soul's homework, right? They're told some new ways to handle the scenarios with the family member as well as the work situation. Okay. And once you do that homework, then if there's still questions, then they come back for another reading and we look at the next steps that need to be taken as part of the soul's awakening. Okay. And let me see. Our final example here of client sessions. Okay, so I don't usually talk about when I do the psychic mediumship. And this is when I connect to passed on loved ones. Okay, and this is when I'll do a session with somebody. They happen to have someone who just passed, and they're usually going through grief, trying to come to a place of feeling at peace with their passing. And in these scenarios, I usually sense the spirit of this person coming from the other side and there's an energy, I can usually describe them. And in this case, that feels very relieving to this person. This was her son that had passed, so it was a little bit more traumatic, right? The child passing. And, just bringing that connection through can feel very relieving to the person hearing this, and knowing that their passed on loved one is on the other side in a safe place. And there may be some last words or even guidance that the passed on loved one is requesting. And then I usually experience also the soul connecting with the angelics, the higher divine beings on the other side, and going to a restful place. Yeah, but it's a very personal type of a reading, and it's very sweet and emotional. And it really helps with the moving on process as you are letting go of the soul from being incarnated in this lifetime and accepting that they are now in another dimension space. And when that's accepted, then it's easier to actually commune with the soul on the other side in a peaceful way, right? Almost like their unfinished business was trying to connect to you from the other realm, but they couldn't finish it because you couldn't let them go to the other side, or vice versa, right? And so you're really just trying to understand that change in connection to this soul. And so the session is really helpful for that transition and coming into a place of peace with that. So again, that's more of doing the psychic mediumship in the Shamanic Akashic Enlightenment sessions. All right, so I think that's going to be all for now. Yeah, trying to think of any other sessions that came in. Sometimes, again, coming back a little bit more, I guess, to the medical or health related sessions, oftentimes there can also be like sleep issues that people have, and that's usually from trauma. So we'll go in and I will clear the roots of the trauma. And, that could be from childhood. It could also be, I've had one person who had a car accident. That was really intense, seeing their near-death experience, where they kind of went through the car and still survived. I haven't seen that before. And then helping them to come to terms with that. So when I do the reading, I see kind of this slow replay of the trauma that happened. I can feel their energy field and I reset it, coming back into a calm space, almost as if the incident never happened. And then they're able to move through the processing of the event. And that way they can then come back into better sleep because the trauma has cleared. And then if the sleep issue is from something physiological, this is usually when I'll clear trauma from the past, okay, that may still be activating in the system or being played out, most commonly in a dysfunctional relationship, which will be revealed in the reading that it's a karmic relationship. So we will clear that. And then I'll usually also bring in Chinese herbal medicine to help calm the spirit, calm the Shen, nourish the blood to help with sleep. And, we may need to do a couple of sessions around that. Trauma can have layers to it, right? We're not going to go faster than the person can handle. And everybody is different, of what they're ready to let go of and heal from. And so we'll just go with the process of that. I would say at least 3 sessions. And it really depends on what the trauma is. I had one person who had somebody who drugged them, and they didn't have their memory. They couldn't remember what happened. And so that was half of the trauma, was just remembering what happened. So I would go in and I could actually see what happened, and I'm telling them what happened because it's in their frequency. Part of them remembers, they just don't consciously remember because the drug was present, right? But that can also happen in a high stress situation, if someone is disassociating from something, they've blocked the memory, and I can see it and bring that back and help them move through it, right, and heal. If they're ready for it, it'll come in. If they're not ready for it, then I won't receive it as something to be shown as part of the healing or revealed as part of the healing. And in that case, with that person, I did take a couple of sessions to get the memory back and then start clearing the trauma that happened. Yeah, so it's really good for, I'd say, accelerating the process. I love psychotherapy for emotional processing, learning your emotions. But in these scenarios, working with the spiritual realm, as well as bringing even some Chinese medicine herbs, just to help the body, mind, spirit complex to fully recover from what it's been through, is very, very helpful. So I feel very grateful to be able to do that work and assist souls with coming back to their true selves, and at least out of trauma, right? And of course, the other sessions that I do are oftentimes accelerating people on their awakening path, right? That they feel that there's a calling, they want to look at their most current past lives that are most pertinent, how that's applying to their awakening. So we'll look at past lives on Earth as well as other dimensions, other planets. We can connect with your star families and see who wants to connect with you. If you have star families that want to connect with you, oftentimes that also comes in when I teach Akashic Enlightenment, that you'll meet your Arcturian family, your Pleiadian family, whoever it is. Also, even planets with no names, right? You'll get a clairvoyant vision of the entire lifetime that you spent there. And it feels so good to just connect to that lifetime again and to feel that resonance on the soul of, wow, I remember that, and that then applies to your overall awakening, because it's helping you to remember yourself at your soul level. And remembering anything at the soul level is helping you to awaken ultimately back to your true source self, right? And the process, it just takes different amounts of time for every soul. So sometimes we'll do multiple readings, and oftentimes we'll just go right into teaching Akashic Enlightenment, because then you are directly connected and receiving this information for yourself, seeing these lifetimes, seeing the core wounds that you're healing from, seeing and receiving what is your highest soul path at this present time and incarnation. And it's shifting your energy as you receive it. Just like if I were to do a reading for you, it shifts your energy, but I'm the translator telling you what's happening, right? So it's just a different depth, and I would say you're able to accelerate more quickly if you're doing the Akashic Enlightenment training for yourself and receiving that knowledge. Yeah. All right. So I'm just seeing if there's any other readings that come in. I think that's it for right now. I might do more of this so that people know what's coming up in the sessions that I do, how they can more understand how I am connecting with the spirit world and what I'm receiving. Because I am a psychic medium. I just do shamanic, Akashic, enlightenment sessions. So it's a little bit different than just doing psychic mediumship, where I'm just getting the information. There's a higher higher self, higher alignment frequency, as well as then the shamanic energy clearing and healing aspect. So there's kind of three things going on when I do a session, right? Just using the psychic medium ability, the clairvoyance, I can see things. And the clairaudience, I can hear things. Clairsentience, I will feel things. Sometimes I'll even smell things. That happens every now and then, like sage or flowers. And it just uses all the senses. And yeah, I think that's it. Just seeing if there's anything else coming in to share about the sessions right now. All right, yeah, so go ahead and comment below if this was helpful for you to understand what I'm doing in the client sessions. And if you just like hearing the stories, I guess this would be an announcement. But first, a happy Halloween, right? It's October 31st, the veil is thin, and it is Scorpio season. And I just wanted to announce as a little separate video here that I've been doing this for 10 years now. Yay! And in celebration and in gratitude of all of you who have been a part of all of this, I wanted to go ahead and give away, for now, 5 15-minute Shamanic Akashic Enlightenment sessions to be recorded live. And if we don't do it live, recorded on Zoom and then posted on YouTube to be shared with the collective. So you get it free, and then others will benefit through whatever higher knowledge and energy comes through for your session. Okay, so it helps you and it helps the collective. All right, so 5 15-minute sessions. So if you are interested in that and you're okay with being recorded either for the full thing or part of it and having that posted, then go ahead and email me after you sign up on the mailing list. Now, the mailing list link will be posted below in the description. Okay, so sign up on the mailing list and then email me that you're interested in the free 15-minute reading and tell me what your one question is. Because 15 minutes is only enough time for one question. Okay, so it can either be something that you want guidance on or healing. Okay, I don't know. We can also do ascension work in terms of upgrades that need to come in or connecting to your star families. All right, so you can choose between those things: healing, divine guidance, uh, ascension upgrades, right? And sometimes that includes light language connecting to your star families. Okay, and yeah, I think that would be it. Okay, so those are the choices. And yeah, we'll do this for now. Maybe I'll do more later, but for now, we're going to start with this. And yeah, I'm just trying to get the understanding out there for people of what these sessions are like and what I'm experiencing. So, all right, I look forward to connecting with you. So glad that you are on here and that we are connecting. Hope you are enjoying your path, and we'll say goodbye for now. Thank you, and a happy Halloween to you. Bye for now.